Hello and welcome back to the Scroll Here YouTube channel, and this is the very belated review of the Sunderland game, the Liverpool Sunderland game, which obviously finished 2-2. Now, I purposely left it this late, obviously because I wanted to make sure the reactionary video that I would have made would have been pretty bad, right? And I needed time to actually let's process things, let another couple of games play out, and a big game obviously played out tonight, which was Tottenham versus Chelsea. And the reason I wanted to do that was because the teams that were around us weren't going to be able to get above us. As far as I'm concerned, I think the highest that could have gone would have been Arsenal, but they got a draw against Bournemouth 3-3. Unbelievable game for a neutral, but Arsenal fans, they were kicking off left, right, and centre, and rightly so at the performance that the players put in until the last until Sanchez decided to drag them all up by the bootstraps, get their asses kicked on the pitch, and they actually put together a performance, got a draw. Then you move on to Tottenham versus Chelsea, and the reason that I wanted to delay the Sunderland versus Liverpool game reaction was because there would have been too much talk about us having to play within 2 games within 44 hours. Okay, before the game, Klopp had said that that shouldn't really be an excuse. And I know that since then he's obviously used it, not as an excuse, because it is a genuine excuse. If you look at recovery times and for a professional athlete at those types of level, it's not necessarily and that also comes down to Jurgen Klopp's team management and team selection as well. I think it was only 2 players that were different in the game that we played against Man City. So there was only 2 changes in that team. Could have rotated a little bit more. You could see that we had tired legs, and that's possibly where the penalties come from. It comes from lethargic, not necessarily lethargicness. That's wrong. It comes from being tired, a little bit exhausted. You run on empty. You do things reactionary. Mane putting his hand up. Klavan going in for that. Klavan and I can't remember who it was. It might have been Wijnaldum. Can't remember. Sandwiched a player. I think it might have been Ndong or whatever his name is. Got a penalty there as well. Look, I said in the preview, Defoe scores goals, and he did. He scored both penalties. They were penalties, though, and we gifted them. We gifted them a way back in. We certainly did, and there's no taking away from that. But I keep digressing away from the reason why I delayed it, because I had a feeling about the Chelsea game. The Chelsea v Tottenham one, or Tottenham v Chelsea, whichever way around. Can't remember who was at home. I think it was Tottenham. And I just had a feeling that there was going to be something come out of that was going to go in our favour. It was either going to be a draw, and it would have meant that we were still 6 points adrift, or that they were going to lose. And you're obviously in our position where no Liverpool fan was hoping for Chelsea to win. No way, because then they would have been too far ahead and everything like that. I think they would have been 8 points ahead of us at that point, maybe further. I'm not sure, but to have that performance go in, and let's not get it twisted either. Tottenham pretty much dominated that game as well. And when I say dominated, I also mean controlled. They weren't running Chelsea off the park, but they were controlling that game. They were controlling the tempo. They were controlling the way that they were boxing in Chelsea. They were boxing in. Diego Costa was so quiet. Eden Hazard could barely get out and be his creative self. They put in a hell of a performance. Have they put a blueprint in for other teams now following them of how to actually get through Chelsea, taking away that unbeaten streak that Chelsea have been on? They're the first team in 13 games, I think. They think this was the 4th. If they'd won this one, they would have tied. I think they would have tied, or they would have beaten Arsenal's consecutive wins in one season, or something like that. That's what it would have been. And yeah, I think the way that Chelsea played, I think Chelsea were strong enough. So obviously they put out a strong enough lineup. They had enough days rest in between different games and stuff like that as well. But they didn't. Tottenham just stood firm, and they did what. Well, they didn't do what they did best actually. They had some cracking crosses from Christian Eriksen to Dele Alli, and because Harry Kane had a damn quiet night as well. And it's just anyway. So it plays into our favour because now we're 5 points behind Chelsea. Obviously, now if you look at it, you can look at it in so many different ways. If we'd won against Sunderland, yes, we'd only be 3 points behind, and that's big. That is big. But to only be 5 points behind, and we were 6 points behind, you can look at it as a slight positive. And I only say a slight positive as well, because one of the other things that I was talking about with a couple of friends as well is, if our results had been switched around, so say if we were playing Man City and we were playing against Sunderland, and if we drew against Man City but beat Sunderland, I don't think the media would have been kicking off whatsoever. At all. I really don't think they would have. I think they would have looked at it and said, Man City, tough game. Sunderland, yeah, that's the one that they should have won. Instead, the way that they've looked at it, and some of them are taken out. They mention the fact that we played 2 games in 44 hours, but you've also got to look at where Sunderland are. It doesn't matter on the actual quality of the team. So obviously you've got the likes of Aguero and such like that, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, all those players that are at Man City. Sunderland have nowhere near that quality. Let's not even pretend that, and I don't think anybody would. But they are in a position in the league where when they come up around teams against teams around them, say like the likes of Burnley who smashed them 4-1, when they come up against teams like that, they don't do well. But when they come up against the bigger teams, they sit back. They basically do a Sam Allardyce. They sat back and they got their point. That's what they were. They weren't going out to win that game. And let's also be honest as well. I think on the run of play, some people were saying that we didn't actually play that bad. We didn't play that good either. Let's not get it twisted. We did not play that well. And that probably does come down to a little bit of the squad rotation and stuff like that as well. And the fact that it was pretty much non-existent. The fact that Henderson was pretty much only taken out of the team, and he was missing. Let's not get that wrong either. Henderson was missing so much. Like, he was missed, I should say. He was missed so much in that game. His leading, his captaincy, everything like that. He was missing, and his work rate. The job that he does is so understated. It's unbelievable. It's important to have somebody like that in there. It just wasn't replicated with Emre Can and Wijnaldum, unfortunately. The defence, it looked tired and leggy. They were being ran ragged. We were being ran ragged by the likes of Defoe. Defoe was getting in behind. It's unbelievable. They were offside at one point. Mignolet's coming off his line. It's unreal, and it was starting to look like maybe 2 seasons ago or a season ago, where everything just seemed to, you'd go in front and you concede. You go in front and you concede, and it was too familiar. But I do have to believe that when we do get the likes of Philippe Coutinho back in the team, which we are going to need, his arrival back into the team is going to be so sorely needed now that we've obviously got Mane going off to the African Cup of Nations. It's going to be a huge impact. People, I think, are understating the importance of Sadio Mane in that he's pretty much our only lethally pacey player. Genuinely, I think he is literally our only lethally pacey player. The only person, and I've said this I think in the preview to the Sunderland game as well, I think the only person that could come anywhere near that sort of pace is out in Fenerbahce, and he's struggling out there. He might even be injured, I'm not entirely sure, which is Lazar Markovic. And that is someone that I would maybe be looking at. If he's struggling out there, struggling for game time, bring him back. He's still only about 21 years old. Develop him, get him in the setup, or decide with your own eyes, not the performances or lack of performances he's getting at Fenerbahce, and decide whether you actually want to keep this guy. Now, there's talk about that Klopp is being backed with 40 million in a January transfer window for a forward. Okay, fair enough. Let's play devil's advocate. There's never anybody of that Mane quality or anything like that. There's never going to be. And it depends what they mean by forward as well. Do they mean winger? Do they mean a striker? Because to be fair, I think, yes, Sturridge picked up a knock, but he deserves a lot of credit. He's coming for a lot of criticism from all quarters, coming from some from me. Not that means a great deal, let's be honest. But and he's come in, he's performed very well. He's very reactionary. That goal that he actually got against Sunderland, very reactionary, but it was very well needed. Divock Origi, options. Firmino. And Divock Origi is very, very good. I'm a big fan, and I can't wait for him, to have a few more years of development with us and stuff like that as well. Playing alongside the likes of Sturridge, playing alongside the likes of Firmino. Now, Firmino, he does go hot and cold sometimes, but you can't question the guy's work rate. You really, really can't. Then you've got Coutinho coming back, and it depends what he's going to come back like. Is it going to be a slow, eased-in process? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not the manager, and I don't really know. I'm not a physical professional, so that's pretty much where I'm at with it. But when he does come back, he's going to be another forward that we've got. So it depends if they are literally going to go and do something and bring in, there's talk, obviously, the rumours of Oxlade-Chamberlain. Not entirely sure on that one. I'm really not entirely sure on that one. I think he's a very talented player, young player, similar sort of age to Mane, I think. But I don't know. He could be one of those that you pick up, like when we got Mane from Southampton. He'd showed glimpses of awesomeness, and then he showed absolute rays of awesomeness with us. It could be another one of those, given the opportunity, because he's not really getting the opportunities at Arsenal. It could be one of those that maybe we could pick up on that. It depends on the fee, though, because if they're saying that we're going to get back with 40 million in a January transfer window for a forward, that's hefty. That is hefty. Now, I know obviously Mane came in at about 36 million, but it kind of looks like a snippet that, like the performances that he's actually put in for us. You know, when he came in and that very first day Impact, he comes in and he does that performance against Arsenal. Unreal. And the goal against Arsenal as well. Wonderful. Since then, he's kicked on and he's been absolutely vital to the team. Now, they have to bring in that exact same quality if they're going to get someone. Then you're faced with the problem when he comes back from the African Cup of Nations. What do you do? Do you just use it as more options? I'm not entirely sure. I am firmly sticking with what we would normally do, in that I don't believe he'll be going in the January transfer window. I think he's probably been coming up with a plan that when Mane goes, or is gone, whichever, when Mane goes, that he was going to have some sort of plan, and he'll probably come up with something months and months ago that he's going to put into action. And that'll be that. It'll probably be with the squad that we've got now. Could be a change of formation, or it could be someone from the youth lot. I'm not entirely sure. One thing that I am sure about, though, is that I am a damn sight more positive about our placing in the league. We're still second in the league right now. We're 5 points behind Chelsea. We could have been better. Damn right we could have been. And that's our fault. That's the team's fault as well. That's everything. The performance's fault. It's just lackadaisical at times and lack of concentration. That's definitely our fault. But being 5 points behind is way better than being 8 points behind or 9 points behind. We could, because there were times in that Sunderland game where we could have lost. Let's be real. There was times where we could have lost and probably maybe should have lost. So that's where I'm at with that one. Anyway, I'm quite positive with where we're going at the moment. I'm very positive with where we are now. In terms of what I'm going to be doing in the future or in the very near future, is we are in the January transfer window. And I said at the start of the season, or when I did my table prediction video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, do check that one out if you please. I will be doing a review of what my predictions were halfway through the season, because we are halfway through the season, just over halfway, and see how they're lining up with where we are in the table right now, and then do another prediction. So I hope you're going to tune in for that one. I hope you like the sound of that one as well. Do let me know. Drop a like on it. Leave some comments in the box below if you'd like to. Give me any suggestions that you want. Leave any thoughts that you want as well. Leave me anything. I don't mind. I like it all. I like hearing from you, and just get any comments that you'd really like to. I'd love to get them in the comments there, and then I can work on them as well. I can get them in the next videos, anything like that. We'll get the content made. So if you like the sound of that, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. That would be so awesome. We are currently at this recording one person away from 50 subscribers, and that's huge for me. I don't care about, like, I know that there's going to be loads of people that are like, dude, 50 subscribers, maybe come back to us when you say 50k. And I'm like, that would be an absolute privilege. That would be for me right now, that's an unsurmountable sort of, that's way off target. But 50 subscribers is a really big deal for me. So we're one person away from that. So do hit that subscribe button if you please. It'd be awesome to get over that little milestone. And thank you ever so much for watching and sticking with this rambling. I don't think I'll have edited this much. So yeah, it's been a bit of a ramble. A lot of switching between games. Not really a review of the Sunderland Liverpool game. But there you go. That's what you get from me. You'll get more structured videos. I guarantee it. It's just one of those. I wanted to combine a lot of things. So like, comment, subscribe. Thank you again ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.